Today we are learning about simple character animation in After Effects without using any external plugin. I have created this illustration inside After Effects just by using Pen tool and Shape tool. And the first thing you want to do, whether you have created your illustration directly inside After Effects or you have just imported some vector or PSD files, you just want to organize your project file. Because if you don't, it can get really confusing at the later stages. I have separated each part of my illustration in separate layers, and I changed the name of each layer accordingly. The next thing I want to do is to adjust the anchor point. Why this is important? Because, for example, right now, if I want to rotate the ear, it looks like this. But if I adjust the anchor point to where I think the ears should naturally rotate from, then I would have this sort of movement, which is more believable. So I'm gonna adjust all the anchor point based on where the movement happens in each part of this character. And for some parts, you just need to put for example, for the eyes, just put the anchor point in the center of the illustration. After adjusting the anchor point, the next step is to define the rigging of the character. And rigging here means that you are defining the hierarchical set of connected parts. So for example, if I move the head of the dog, naturally should everything moves with it. So this is the parents and everything else is a child, or there might be a set of child and parents and then one main parent. Let's do some parenting here. When it comes to ears, they are attached to the head. We are gonna parent each ear to the head. Eyes as well. For mouth, we can parent it to the nose. So if the nose moves, the mouth moves with it, and then we parent the nose to the head. And now when I'm moving the head, everything moves with it. Now we have organized our project file and did the parenting, so we are ready to do some animation. For the animation, I want to create a simple animation of the dog, just turning his head towards right side. And I want to start with creating a simple anticipation. So the dog eyes see something first. He notices something, just his eyes gonna move and notice something. And then he's gonna rotate the whole head. I start with animating the position of the eyes. And here I can also add a blink. To do that, I need to create a scale animation. This would be where the blink happens, and I'm going to distort the shapes, but I have to create a set of keyframe before and after, so I make sure after the blink the eye forms goes back to its normal scale and it's not going to be distorted. Then I go back to the middle keyframe and change the eyes shape like this, so it looks like a blink. Then he's gonna rotate his head. But because this is like a 2D illustration and there is no 3D dimension, I'm gonna create kind of an illusion of a rotation. So I'm not gonna change the head, I'm not gonna move the head itself, but you know, the face parts. So it feels that it's kind of rotating. So I'm gonna choose ears and nose and even the eyes here and the mouth and create a position keyframe here. and maybe just manipulate the ears so it feels like he's rotating the head. The next thing I want to do is to create a little bit of arc here, because usually not so often in reality any movement happens in a straight lines. Right now the rotation of head is like a straight line, like he's on top of a plate and we are rotating the plate. He's not moving. So I bring this stuff a little bit down. Is like he's rotating his head in an arc kind of movement, and just the ears a little bit up. And here again I can create the scale animation again just by copy pasting the blink here, just by copy pasting the keyframes. And the last thing I want to do is to kind of offset the ears animation, so not everything stops all together and we have a little bit of overlapping animation. Okay, let's do another simple character animation. We want to create an animation like this. Main movement here is the arm movement, and we are going to create the rigging for the arm a bit different. I have my illustration ready, and you can download this illustration and the previous example illustration from Moodle and use it for your animation. Kind of separate everything in separate layers and name them. I also adjust the anchor point, well, not all of it apparently, but I'm gonna double check. Now I'm going to create the arm. I'm going to use Null for rigging this arm. So the way it's created is kind of different. The first thing I do, I make sure no layer is selected. Then I just create the arm with creating a path. And this path has 3 vertex. Then I adjust the stroke. And then I go to my shape layer, and in the stroke part, I around the cap and the join. Then I go to taper. So I change the length, the start length, and then so I have a narrower in this part of my arm. If I want to kind of move the vertex, I can just select my path, each vertex, and just move them a little bit so I get the form that I really want. Okay, so when I'm happy with the arm, I'm gonna rename this to arm. And then I'm gonna make sure that I'm clicking the path so every vertex is selected here. And then I go to window and choose a plugin, create null from path. So if you have After Effects 2018 and later, you would have this option. And if you cannot find this option, probably you have an older version of After Effects 2017 or older. And you have to kind of update your After Effects to get this option. I'm gonna choose points follow nulls. And as soon as I do that, I have 3 nulls here. These boxes that kind of are attached to those 3 vertices. And when I move these boxes, those vertices are gonna move as well. But I'm gonna rename them to up arm null, middle arm null, and the wrist. And just changing the color of my arm illustration. Now let's move one of this and see what happens. So you see now just be careful not to scale it, but if you move it, you see that you have now a rigging that by moving these boxes, you can moving your arm. The last thing left is the parenting thing. Now that we have everything ready, I'm gonna parent the click to button, nose to the face, eyes to the face, hair to the face, and I'm gonna parent the face to the body, and then I have the hand, and I'm gonna parent the hand to the wrist. So this is the first null, and then I'm gonna parent the wrist to the mid arm null, to this one, and the mid arm null to up arm, and then up arm to the body. So now if I move the up arm, everything moves with it. And the arm is also attached to the whole body. So if I move the body, everything moves with it. Okay, great. Now that we are done with the rigging, we need to start the animation. Everything is animated by animating the position and rotation. And also there is an animation of click, which is I changed the scale of the click. And for the hair, I applied an effect. I'm gonna go through them very fast. So for example, if you want to animate the arm, you select all these 5 layers and maybe not the arm, we don't need the arm, and press position and rotation and create the first keyframe, and then press U so I see the keyframes. So I'm gonna create a bit of anticipation for the arm. It's first goes back a little bit, getting ready to go ahead and click. Hands as well, rotate a little bit back, and then moving forward. And here for the arm to touch the click, I have to animate mid arm and the wrist. And it would be a keyframe here. And then a bit of rotation. And maybe even moving the position a little bit. And for this one, I have the position, and then I have this. So it has an animate like this. So you just need to basically animate the position and rotation. And for the body, head, and everything, I have just used rotation and position to create a slight movement. And for the click, what I've done is I just animated the scale where the finger touches the button. So it scale down a little bit, and then it goes back to 100. something like that for the button. And for the hair, I apply an effect called Wave Warp. Just drag and drop the effect on hair.